Greetings everyone, this is Rambling Collector here, and welcome back for another comic review. The subject of this video, Punisher Year 1 by Andy Lanning and Dan Abnett. So, for some context for this video, this little miniseries was actually sent to me along with the graphic novel Welcome Back, Frank by my friend Brevin. And Brevin, if you're watching this, I apologize that it has taken me so long to finally get to this book, and I hope you'll enjoy the video. Now for all of you watching, I've never read any Punisher comics before this. Same thing with Daredevil, or even mostly any Batman comics, though, as you can tell over the course of the history of this channel, that has gradually been changing. But I mostly have my buddy Brevin to thank for introducing me to some of these amazing characters. And this one being the very first Punisher series, I was already hooked. Not to mention, for a little bit of extra credit, Dan Abnett, whom I know for his Warhammer 40k works. But we're not here to talk about Warhammer, we're here to talk about the Punisher. So, let's get to it, shall we? So first of all, this little miniseries provides a great beginning to the Punisher story, showing his tragic start and how he rose to become the Avenger he is today. For context, for those of you who don't know, the Punisher was involved in a shooting where his entire family was gunned down, but he himself was the only survivor. Now, Punisher is a very heavy war veteran in this comic series, and when you basically kill the entire world of a war veteran, you had best be prepared for hell to be risen. And I will say this is greatly emphasized by the artwork for this comic, which, while rough at times, adds a great sense of grit and reality to the story, emphasizing Frank Castle's struggle to keep pushing forward after losing his entire world. Because how else do you react after watching your wife and child be gunned down and you are the only survivor? You're going to go a little bit wacko yourself, in all honesty. But it is even further shown by the fact that, well, first of all, Punisher, aka Frank Castle, is a war veteran. And if you go ticking off a war veteran, you best be prepared for hell. If you want a clear example of that, just watch the John Wick series, and you will understand. But more than that, I liked how this story really goes into Frank Castle's mental spiral. We see him seeking out vengeance wherever he goes, but before that we see how he just hits a very low point, to the point of nearly taking his own life in the process. And that's a hard thing to see, of someone overcoming their grief. But seeing him go on to take bloody vengeance was definitely satisfying. But let's move on from the story. Let's move on to the artwork. Which, as I said before in my previous note, the art style is, again, very, very rough. But then again, this is more of an 80s or 90s comic, so I can forgive it for that. But also, there's just something about the older artwork that I absolutely enjoy, just because this is all like handwritten and colored in, and it just looks amazing in its own right. And honestly, I just love like the depth and style that goes into it. But like I said before, Punisher is not afraid to get gritty with it, in a way, because you see just how dark and depressing sometimes his story can get, but also I weirdly enough like the early Punisher design, how he has sort of a combat vest with the painted skull on, rather than the skin-tight suit that he wears in later issues. I don't know. I like how it's mostly like a sleeveless combat vest in a way. Kind of highlights how he is going in guns blazing with all he's got left on his back. It's oddly intimidating in its own right. And of course, the image here shown of him laying in a dead field of flowers after watching his home be burned down is just amazingly well drawn. And with that being said, let's move on to some random thoughts, shall we? Okay, so as of right now, I'm currently halfway through Welcome Back, Frank, and believe me, that will be a future video on this channel, just stay tuned for that. But one thing I do appreciate is seeing some of these darker heroes that are shown, especially Daredevil and Punisher. Because for me, I've mostly been a DC Comics person, but every time I get a glimpse into the Marvel universe and some of the more darker anti-heroes or heroes that inhabit that universe, it really just sticks out to me the most. Daredevil and Punisher being some very prime examples. Now, will I be inspired to read more? Absolutely, because there's a lot of good stories in there that I really do want to see more of. It's just a matter of finding the right character to connect with. Thankfully, though, my friend Brevin has not disappointed me yet with any of the books he's sent me, ranging from the novels of Red Dragon, as well as Lord of the Flies, but also just the comic books he's sent me, such as Nightfall, Daredevil, and of course Punisher, have always been amazingly well done reads. And if you guys want to check out his channel, please feel free to do so. He reviews movies, I review the books. We just see what happens here. But, with that being said, let's move on to the conclusion, shall we? So, honestly, I would have to give Punisher Year 1 a solid 9 out of 10 for good artwork, an engaging story, and honestly, a great introduction to Punisher for myself as a new reader of this particular character. Will I be checking out more of him? Possibly. Depends on what really grabs me by the horns. You all know what I mean? But again, Brevin, if you're watching this, thank you so much for sending me this comic, and I apologize that the video has taken so long to get out. And honestly, I just hope you enjoy. And for all of you who are watching as well, thank you for watching and being so patient with me. I know my upload schedule has been absolutely crazy, and I apologize for that. Real life stuff sometimes gets in the way, but hopefully you all enjoyed this short little video, which I know is short, but hopefully I got the point across. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe if you're interested for more future podcast episodes of books, comics, or manga. You never know. There might be something in store for all of you. And if you do want to check out some of the other comics that I've reviewed in the past on this channel, feel free to leave a click to the comics playlist that I will leave here at the end of the video. Or if you're more of a book person, I will leave a link to that playlist as well. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, fellow readers.